Why would a son who once relied completely on his mother's care later treat her with coldness, contempt, or even cruelty? Why would the very woman who gave him life, protection, and unconditional love become the target of humiliation? This is far more common than people like to admit, and behind it lies one of the most intricate and painful patterns in human psychology, a dynamic Carl Jung and other depth psychologists have examined with striking clarity. In this exploration, we'll uncover the emotional and unconscious forces that drive such behavior: emotional fusion, shadow projection, cultural conditioning, and inherited family trauma. What looks like simple disrespect is often the visible edge of something buried much deeper: unresolved shame, fear of dependence, and a fragmented sense of self. The mother as archetype in Jungian thought. The mother is not just a person, but an archetype, a timeless image lodged in a collective unconscious. She represents safety, nourishment, and care, but also a state of total dependency. For many boys, early life under a mother's protection leaves deep imprints of need, vulnerability, and helplessness. As they grow, they absorb cultural messages about masculinity. Be independent, be strong, don't show need. Those tender, dependent feelings now feel shameful. Over time, the mother, once a safe haven, becomes a living reminder of the vulnerability they've been taught to reject. Her presence stirs up what they've worked hard to bury. The reaction: distance, sarcasm, contempt, even open humiliation, not because of who she is now, but because of what she symbolizes, the emotional child within that they cannot allow themselves to be. The fusion that never broke healthy growth requires separation. Jung called this individuation, becoming a distinct, autonomous self. But in many mother-son bonds, separation never fully happens. Sometimes, the mother remains emotionally over-involved. Sometimes the son avoids taking emotional responsibility for his independence. The result is a tangled connection where he feels trapped, yet guilty for wanting space. Without a healthier model, his only way to assert independence may be aggression. Humiliation becomes a blunt weapon to push her away, even while remaining emotionally tied to her. Paradoxically, the more he attacks, the more the tie holds. On her side, the mother may unconsciously feed the fusion, defining her identity through caregiving, struggling to let go, or confusing care with control. If she tolerates cruelty for the sake of keeping the peace, she teaches that such behavior is allowed. Masculinity and the rejection of the feminine cultural scripts also play a huge role. In many societies, men are taught to avoid anything seen as soft, emotions, dependence, vulnerability. Boys are praised for toughness, mocked for tears, rewarded for self-control over self-expression. As adults, these men carry a mask, Jung's persona, hiding insecurity and longing. But the mother is often the one person who remembers the boy before the mask. Her care can feel like an X-ray to the soul, threatening the identity he's built. When she shows concern or asks for help, it can ignite the shame he carries about his own emotional past. Lashing out becomes a way to silence that reminder, not because she deserves it, but because he cannot yet face himself. The weight of generations, this pattern doesn't start fresh with one relationship. It often grows from family legacies where boundaries were blurred or respect was absent. Maybe the father demeaned the mother, or maybe the household normalized criticism and neglect. Children repeat what they learn. Without conscious intervention, the son may recreate the very dynamic that once hurt him. Likewise, a mother who accepts disrespect may have inherited the belief that suffering silently is part of loving. These unspoken agreements pass from one generation to the next, until someone decides to stop the cycle. As Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Healing the split. Real change begins when both mother and son are willing to meet their shadows. For the son, that means realizing cruelty is not strength. Autonomy does not require humiliation. It means grieving unmet needs from childhood, and learning that a whole man can hold both power and tenderness. For the mother, it means stepping out of self-erasure. Protecting her dignity is not betraying her love. It's reinforcing it. Setting boundaries allows the son to meet her as a fellow human being, not as an emotional crutch. When both release the old roles, the war ends. In its place grows a relationship grounded in mutual respect, no longer a battlefield, but common ground. Humiliation always reveals something broken within. Facing it with honesty and compassion is the first step toward wholeness.